Okay, so here's some feedback on discussion board 6 and the questions. Remember, always ask a question. Some of you are still not asking questions. Follow the rubric, answer, comment, respond, and question. Okay, so uh, first question is from Loyali. Yes, good. Does anyone else think that the digital revolution is creating a whole new language dialect? Well, I think it's creating particular uh, different forms of language, different styles of language, and it's affecting the language we use. Recent article in the New York Times complained about the fact that maybe the period is on the way out because when you're texting these days, you don't use periods. Cameron makes a nice point about the use of memes, which is quite a different way of conveying ideas and meanings, which is a nice idea, and that suggests language is changing as well in the terms of what you can use to convey particular meanings. Next question is Cameron himself. With so many people having the ability to communicate freely, will political change happen faster? Take the Arab Spring, for example. The revolutionaries were unable to unite and mobilize, were able to unite and mobilize through social media. Their revolt could have been very different if organizers were not able to utilize digital technologies. That's right, it's a great example, isn't it? We saw the power of kind of social media in helping to mobilize the particular support for the Arab Spring. Problem is, of course, the Arab Spring has gone nowhere. In fact, it seems to be worse than it was before. So whether it has the ability to create political change, I don't know. It certainly facilitates it, and it's an important tool in bringing people together and communicating in a very short space of time. Levi says the digital revolution is upon us and youth is exposed at such a young age, which terrifies me. But you don't actually say why it terrifies you. Do you see the same trend as I do? Well, I don't know. It's like a lot of things, innovation. There's lots of good things, positive things to say about it, and there's lots of negative things to say about it. I think it's going to have a particular effect on our cognitive abilities in the same way that when we humans learnt to read, that had a huge effect upon the development of their brains and their consciousness. I think one of the great positive things about the information revolution, as it used to be called, is that you can get a lot of information very quickly. And I think that's going to really affect the way that our brains develop. Alex K says, do you think that there will ever be a time when paper books go obsolete and everyone just uses e-readers? Um, Maybe, but then, we'll think of things like vinyl. Vinyl has been hanging around because vinyl has qualities which digital recording doesn't have. So I don't think um, paper books are going to go away. I think they're going to be a lot less common, but certainly they have a place. I, for one, have given up paper books because I can't read the small print. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I just go have the electronic readers are just fantastic because I can increase the text to the level where I can actually comfortably read. Nick says, this is following on from Alex K. Do you think all forms of writing will eventually move to the internet and we will all eventually do away with printed writing and reading? If so, will this happen in our lifetime? No, I don't think that will happen. I think there's going to be um, places and functions for written language. Um, uh, I don't know how you feel about electronic greetings cards, Christmas cards, birthday cards, etc., etc. I don't have much of an opinion for them. I'd much rather get a note through the mail wishing me happy birthday than anything electronic. Would you want to receive your diploma when you graduate um, from OU just as a digital link, or would you prefer some nice calligraphy announcing in on a piece of paper, nice paper, that you've got your degree. I think you probably want the latter. So I think, yeah, there's going to be particular occasions when we want to use traditional forms of writing. Alex C says, are there specific sports writers that you like, dislike? Why? Ooh, tough question. Nobody else responded to that. I'll give you a kind of response. I like Gabe Marcotti on SoccerNet, ESPN. I think he's very knowledgeable and he's very balanced, which I think is fantastic. I like a lot of the Guardian sports writers. I'm talking about soccer writers, really. Um, have a great sense of humor, and I think that's important. And one of the journalists I think I really admire is David Walsh. He was the Sunday Times journalist, Irish journalist, who for years wrote about Lance Armstrong and how uh, bent he was, how crooked he was, and he eventually brought all that to the attention of the world, which was great, and that's what sports journalism should be doing. Carl says, I don't know about this. Can anyone tell me how to calculate the BCE or BC stuff like that? I think I got 2 questions wrong in the quiz. It's really hard. I remember I put 3000 BC or something there, and I guess it is wrong. Well, I don't know. It sounds pretty good if that's the date of the beginning of writing, which we talk about as being 3000 BCE. Okay, so basically, there's no real change here. The modern calendar in most of the world is dated from the birth of Jesus. And of course, that's a particularly significant date in most religious, in Christian religion beliefs, but not in other religious beliefs. So BC used to stand for before Christ. BCE now stands for before Common Era. So it's been secularized. And CE is Common Era, which replaces AD, which was Annus Domini, the year of the Lord, or birth of the Lord. So it's been these particular things have been secularized. So BCE before, and BC the common calendar now. Jacob, when you read anything, do you find you either do it for entertainment or because it's something required of you? Um, well, I think most people would do it for entertainment, wouldn't they? Of course, there's lots of things we have to read if we're in college, like I give you guys required reading. But if we talk about the rest of people's lives, most people read for entertainment. Unfortunately, they don't read enough for entertainment. They don't read over long periods. One of the big problems is that nobody reads novels anymore, which I think is a great, great loss to the human psyche. I think we're going to be impoverished if we can't stick it out and read a 300-page novel and enter into an alternative universe, which is so fantastic. Anyway, that's my take on that. Okay, next person, Peter. The article about using Google Maps to trash on other teams was interesting, but I would have liked it to have gone more in depth about specifically how this happens. I don't know. I don't know how it works. We do know that our so particular things, social media things can be manipulated, and thank goodness they can be manipulated because it shows that we're humans. There was a recent what was it? I think it was Google. Google put out an interactive person like Siri. I forget the name of this person, and it was a disaster because people kind of taught the electronic voice to say kind of naughty and nasty things. So I think I don't know how it's done, but I think it's always going to be there, and it's great that people do that. Jordan, has the digital revolution ruined society? No. And our relationship with people, or has it brought us closer together? I think it's just changed rather than ruined it. Um, I mean, I have a particular take on this, which is not the same as lots of people. I mean, I just think the iPhone is an amazing invention, which is just expanding people's minds. The ability to, in an instant, to get an answer to a question you have is just amazing to me. It just shows you, and it's a such a driver of developing consciousness and thinking and ideas. I think that can only be beneficial to society. Does it stop people relating together? Well, it possibly could, but I think there's other forces at work which are causing people not to socialize as much together. For example, mass produced industrialized food that you can stick in a microwave. Um, Nobody cooks dinner anymore. Nobody sits around a table anymore. Nobody talks over dinner anymore. And that's not to do with phones. It's to do with the fact is we don't eat shared dinners anymore. Um, oh, okay, and that's it. So thank you for those questions. More next time.